the new law is due to expire if it's for projects
Were
where...
they, I apologize, were they, I'm trying to remember my last League of Minnesota Cities, or the one before, were they talking about extending that?
Yes, but there has not been a bill yet that does that.
Okay.
So,
Do you have a read on any chance of that, or?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have a negative feeling or a positive feeling, but I'm not seeing anything yet. I'm kind of along in the process, so.
That wouldn't be the 420 or the 1205 that they're discussing now. This would be another TIF program, so to speak, or bill.
Okay, I'm not following the question.
Well, I asked earlier about a 420. They're considering now 420 and 205 for TIF districts. And yes, I read the Minnesota, Greater Minnesota Cities deal. It said that it would be available for anything, unless it is changed. And you're talking about some change that is going to be implemented, possibly for limiting.
I'm not sure what those numbers that you refer to, but the current law, which was passed, I believe, a year or so ago, expires for projects where the TIF district is being requested for certification prior to July 1st, and the construction would commence prior to July 1st. So we'd actually need digging to go on for the motel to qualify for the deal as I had presented it. What am I looking for here, Kathy?
The TIF extension bill hearing.
Oh, okay. This is correct. I don't believe it's gone any further. I guess I misspoke and said that there's nothing there. But I received word today that it wasn't going anywhere.
Okay.
So, and because of that, I'll send you confirmation of that.
Okay.
But if they should do that, that would make things a lot easier. For sure.
Yeah.
Where does that leave us?
At what point, Mike, are you going to start spending money
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Yeah. No, I think Mr. Suri was indicating his willingness to cover some costs. Maybe I misunderstood him. Now, we could certainly schedule a new hearing. But again, right now, I think the hearing was April 25th.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to get that done prior to July 1st, and then also give the developer time, because they're probably waiting for that TIF to be approved and agreements to be approved before they hire contractors and so forth. So we've got all the time in the world to create a TIF district before July 1st. The question is,
Can they begin construction?
yes. Now, if we go beyond that date, let's say that I'm correct, that this does not happen, and we decide not to proceed, you can certainly look at doing you could look at doing tax abatement on its own for 20 years. It won't be as financially powerful, and that might put us back to square one in terms of defining what financial assistance is.
Commentary?
What if you were to consider that if Mr. Suri would place a deposit with the city in an amount equal to the anticipated costs for creating the TIF district, and the city is a net zero, you know, if it doesn't happen, you're not out anything, the TIF district sits, you haven't invested anything in it. But if Mr. Suri is willing to pay for those expenses for Mr. Bhavani to create the district, and deposit that sum in advance with the city,
What was your estimate, Mike?
My cost is a lump sum, $5,500 plus mileage and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The reason I put such high numbers here is because I expect there's going to be some work for Mr. Chiglow, because there's current agreements that will probably either need to be amended or perhaps even a new agreement struck altogether based on these points. So,
but to protect the TIF, if you wanted to proceed and at least talk about whether or not you'd be willing to proceed if Mr. Suri would be willing to deposit the sum of $5,500 with the city, be used for the sole purpose of paying for the consultant fees for creation of the TIF plus expenses, you could
We can
proceed.
move it forward.
At least that's
While
a
waiting
discussion.
for the conditional letter from the
Right.
bank.
And if I knew by, let's say, noon tomorrow, that would work.
He isn't gonna get a letter. Thank you.
No, I don't mean the letter, I mean if he was to submit with you.
55 plus expenses,
Right.
whatever.
We want all 55, or we say 3,000?
55.
I would say
This is
55.
being established for his project.
Okay.
I mean, you could take a much different approach if you had a commitment for financing, subject to these conditions.
Oh, yeah.
And upon Mr. Suri's own admission, he's been here 4 years, so this isn't anything that is a surprise that you require a letter of commitment for financing that could be subject to certain conditions. But in order to keep the project alive and keep things moving, at least you should talk about that consideration.
And that would benefit